Hello, everybody. So, I recently watched a speech by Vladimir Putin, and it's amazing. It was really great. It was a wonderful speech, and I think in a previous episode I said something like, "Oh, if Vladimir Putin uh, invaded and conquered the U.S., then that would be a good thing." And I sort of said that in a flippant manner, but let me be honest. After watching this speech, compared with the speeches of mainstream Western politicians, makes me wish that Vladimir Putin would invade the US and then turn the US into a totalitarian, authoritarian dictatorship surrounded by him, with him at its center, because I think it would be worth it to get this kind of quality um, leadership, or at least going off of speeches like this and this sort of stuff. Here, let me read you some things from it. And here they lie constantly. Perverts, historical facts do not stop attacks on our culture. The Russian Orthodox Church and other traditional religious organizations of our country see what they do with their own people, the destruction of the family, culture, and national identity. Perversion, mockery of children, and pedophilia are declared the norm of their life, and priests are forced to bless same-sex marriage. Good with them. Let them do what they want. What do I want to say here? Adults have the right to live as they want, as we always thought like this in Russia, and we always will. No one will invade private life. We are not going to do this. But I want to tell them, look at the Holy Scripture, the main books of all other world religions. Everything is said there, including that the family is the union of a man and a woman. So, something I think is definitely interesting is a lot of liberals will say that conservatives, or sometimes if they want to be more specific, Trump supporters, are the radical ones. But so right now, they're pushing homosexuality and pedophilia, which is shocking for the West, as that was done away with during when Rome was converted into Christianity. And the West has been like that ever since. But if we look at, while obviously, and it should go without saying, both of those things are evil and disgusting. When we look at culture, some people will defend those things, saying, "Oh, there have been cultures um, outside of the West and before Romans convert to Christianity that did those things," which I think tells you something about white people, but that they knew that those things were wrong before everyone else did. But that is, like, race aside for a second, they're also pushing stuff that has never been accepted by cultures. Stuff like transgenderism, the theory that there are more than two genders, the theory that gender is a spectrum, the theory that men and women are equal and to be treated equal or should have rights. This stuff is totally unprecedented throughout the whole world, throughout all of history. And just like homosexuality and pedophilia, it's disgusting, degenerate, evil, and sinful. To be honest, the only part of Putin's speech where I really had a problem was it wasn't authoritarian enough. I think he should have said, yeah, we're going to break your doors down. We're going to get in your private lives. We're going to get your brain. And we're going to stop you from being a degenerate. Here, I'll read you some more of this speech. But these sacred texts are now in doubt. As it became known, the Anglican Church, for example, plans to consider the idea of a gender-neutral God. What can we say? Forgive us, Lord. They do not know what they do. Millions of people in the West understand that they are leading to a real spiritual disaster. The elites directly, I must say, go crazy, and it seems that they can no longer be treated. But these are their problems, as I said, and we must protect our children. And we will do this to protect our children from degradation and degeneracy. So, when you look at the Middle East, when you look at China, when you look at places that still respect tradition, and in the case of the Middle East and Africa, um, granted not so much China, but respect Abrahamic religion. And the fact that the West, and obviously Russia, but the fact that the West isn't following this shows that we're freaks. Our obsession over kindness and gross things like equality has made us so weak. And this was done intentionally by social Marxists and globalists to make us weak, to make the West, to make us weak, to make the white race weak. In China, the scientists all say homosexuality is a mental illness, and the government pushes them to say that. They they actually made it illegal to have what they called sissy men in their movies and TV shows, and they banned effeminate men. They banned kids from playing too many video games. In Islam, they still understand that women uh, shouldn't have rights. They still understand that homosexuals shouldn't have rights. And they understand the importance of authoritarian dictatorships in these places. Why aren't we like that? It's truly freakish. And those countries, if we do not radically change the West, are going to destroy us. But quite frankly, at this point, we deserve to get destroyed. If we're going around saying God is gender neutral, there are more than two genders, then yeah, we deserve to have these Arabs and these Russians and these commies come in and enslave us because we're at this point we're practically asking for it. If you do all these things to smear and destroy masculinity like the left does, then America and the rest of the West may as well have a big sign over their heads saying, please invade us. We won't fight back. We're weak. Okay, maybe I'll spend a little bit more time talking about this speech, and then perhaps I should move on to other things. But I think this goes to a larger show, which is that all these other cultures are doing things traditionally and how everything has been done over the whole world until 5 minutes ago, and yet they're normal, they're reasonable. And the West is doing obscene things that don't make any sense, that are harming, that are degenerate, so degenerate, and it's destroying us, as was the intention by the people who are pushing us to do those things. I say we need a return to normalcy, a return to before the Great Enlightenment. That's what we need. Before the Enlightenment brought us these terrible ideas like classical liberalism. That's what we need. Back to the traditional ideologies. So I've talked before about Ron DeSantis versus Donald Trump. I talked a whole lot about it on my old YouTube channel that got deleted. But it's something that's very important to me. I'm very strict in my support of Donald Trump. I think that Donald Trump is a million times better than Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis is quite frankly cucked. So why do I bring this up? So George Soros recently said that he hopes that Ron DeSantis becomes the Republican candidate. I actually, he had this idea that if Ron DeSantis became the Republican candidate, then it would spell doom for the Republican Party, and Democrats will win in a landslide. I enjoyed Paul Joseph Watson's video on it. He called George Soros, what was it, like chief globalist, head globalist? Oh, I remember, arch globalist. Nice one, Paul Joseph Watson. Arch globalist. I wonder what he means by globalist. But yeah, so I think this speech should reinforce what we already should have known a long time ago. Ron DeSantis needs to lose and Donald Trump needs to win. We need Donald Trump to become the Republican candidate, not Ron DeSantis. This is very important. Ron DeSantis is beloved by the elites, and they love him because he's more for the Republicans in economic factors, but less so in cultural factors. He will spend less time fighting for culture war issues and more time fighting for economic change. The economic change that will only help the billionaires that hate our guts. When you look at billionaires, they're all liberal. None of them are conservative or Republican. They're all liberal. A few examples that aren't true, but almost all of them are. And they hate our guts. Bill Gates, all these people, like Bill Gates is talking about how to end pollution and saying we need to take all these drastic measures to end pollution. Do you think giving him tax cuts is going to be good for Republicans? Going to be good for Trump supporters? Going to be good for the white working class? No, it's not. Well, I think I'm reading recent events. I did get something I badly needed, a white pill. Even if it wasn't much, it was something. I feel that the Overton window has been pushed so far left that a lot of times I just feel like giving up. What's the point of what's the point of having political discussions? What's the point of standing up for what you believe in when the ideas I want to see proposed aren't being proposed by either one of the major political parties? Both of the major political parties are so far away from my ideas. What's the point in even doing anything? Why not just lay over and let the social Marxist globalists destroy my country and destroy my race. Why not? This is something these are thoughts that have been going through my head a lot, especially the last week. But I was given a major white pill. There was a poll done in England that said the majority of people think we're letting too many immigrants in. Everyone says that the immigration issue, if you oppose it, you're some racist, white supremacist, far right wing extremist, radical. But even the majority of Green Party supporters and the liberals, even they majority voted, we're letting too many immigrants in. And that's including, so imagine if it was just the real English people. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. But I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit concerned now about cancel culture. But if it was just the white people that were born in England, then imagine how high it would be. But they interviewed everyone, such as legal immigrants, brown and black that were born in England, as well as the white people that were born in England. And it was something like 60% said immigrants are too high, and it was still a majority in liberal and Green Party communities. So yeah, I was in desperate need of a white pill, and I got at least part of what I needed. So not all bad news, at least. Yeah, so when the Ukraine war first started, even though I identified as a Trump supporter and I identified as a conservative, I supported Ukraine. But as I've thought about it, I've come to understand my hatred for the US. I would tell myself that the US needs to, we want that Ukraine to not be owned by Putin, because if Ukraine is a country as it is, where America can have a strong grip on it through allyship, then we'll have control over that area. And then America will have more power. So then once people like me, conservatives, not conservatives, but real conservatives, make the changes America needs and turn America into something respectable, then we can use all the power America has to its advantage. But I've changed my mind. I changed my mind because I started thinking the more power America has, the more power the social Marxist globalist has. So whatever we can do to hurt America, we should. And if America loses Ukraine to Putin, that will hurt America. So therefore, we need to do it. And sometimes, in this speech, it just makes there's some things that make me want to see something happen really, really badly. For and like sort of the reverse is like you would see these Democrats say, "Oh, Donald Trump just had this racist, sexist tweet." So, and I can't wait until he gets impeached because this tweet makes me want to see him get impeached so bad. Oh, that would feel so good. Hearing Putin's speech makes me want to see him win his war so bad. I want to see him. I want to see him take over Ukraine. I want to see him conquer Ukraine. I want to see him colonize Ukraine. Because I think this speech makes me feel genuine. I think it puts him in a very likable light. And I think it would be great to see him have a good day, like being told he had just won the war. And this speech makes me wish that we would go from having Joe Biden as president to having Vladimir Putin as dictator for America. And he would be a much better dictator than it would be much better having him as dictator than obviously having like Joe Biden or something president, but also having Hillary Clinton as president, having Donald Trump as president, having Ron DeSantis as president, um, having a conservative as president, having a liberal as president, having a neoconservative as president, um, ha- having a having a libertarian as president. Um, uh, yeah. So maybe we should cross our fingers that obviously he'll beat Ukraine, but that he won't stop at Ukraine. He'll keep conquering country after country until he eventually gets to the U.S. A boy can only dream. Well, okay. How long have I been streaming at this point? Um, looks like around a little bit over 20 minutes. Well, to be honest, I didn't prepare very much, so I'm not sure what to talk about from here. Maybe I should just call it good, and I can do tomorrow. I could try to do another stream tomorrow, so then and I'll talk about something else. So yeah, I know 20 minutes is probably a short stream, but I'm gonna call it good for today, and I hope I can get some quality content out to you tomorrow to make up for this short stream. Goodbye.